Corporations don't need to be built on fake culture, when instead of that you can have real people. Hi, my name is George and welcome to the Focused Rage channel. We work in a world that's controlled by capital. Companies are the new way of survival and in many cases of success. Alright, so I do apologize for the brightness, or actually should I say darkness. I realized right after recording how it looks, and this is not gonna repeat, but for now, please just imagine that I'm sitting inside of a bat cave and I'm talking from there. We don't need to live by the sword anymore, or to kill jaguars in the jungle or hunt mammoths. We don't need to succeed by building huge fortresses and a one-year plan ahead for invasions from neighboring tribes or countries. We don't need to do any of those things. All we need to do is have an encouraging environment to which we can contribute and grow inside as individuals. The reality of the situation is a bit different though. That's why this video is aimed at both employees that are motivated to grow and managers that want to lead people in a much better and more effective way. A lot of companies stay in a stagnant culture that could be best described as that 4th grade math teacher that you had back in the day that wanted you to solve every single task exactly the way that they requested and not in any other way. I mean, how motivated were you to do anything back then, let alone listen to that teacher? Everything felt like a chore, like you had to take these careful steps and make sure that you're doing exactly the right thing so that the teacher can be satisfied, so to speak. Your tasks back then felt pointless because you didn't have the freedom to do it your way or to at least try. You didn't even have the freedom to express those views. So how far have we actually come from school? It seems to me that now the teachers just have more power and sadly do not really teach us anything anymore. Just orders, processes and targets. This leads to the teams of those companies being reduced to numbers and people feeling overworked, undervalued and unappreciated. When you work in a big company, this leaves the impression that what you see is what you get. And that may be the case, if you let it be. Look, it's easy to blame our bosses, the corporation, and everything else for a bad work environment. And they all probably have a fault into that. But we all do. The truth is, nothing's gonna change unless we start communicating and being proactive. Now, there are huge corporations where changing or improving the environment will be almost impossible. And then there's startups where you can build your own thing. These are all situational topics, which we are going to discuss in future videos. Currently, I'm just describing the basic method that you can follow and implement into your work, implement into your thinking so that you can have the best chance to achieve those results. For instance, usually in meetings with the management, a lot of teams decide to keep silent and accept whatever the next changing process or order is, which might be good or it might be bad. But nonetheless, in both of those cases, everybody's going to be silent, they're not going to include themselves into the conversation, and they are going to proceed forward to maybe discuss it with their colleagues outside of work instead of inside. That's not the best way to handle such talks. If you have a team of let's say 20 people and the manager is introducing to you something new, then we should have at least 10 people expressing their open opinion transparently without the fear of being rejected by the other party. The manager, on the other hand, should try to listen and understand his colleagues, yes, I didn't say workers, and see if they are saying anything meaningful. His biggest mistake would be to ignore those opinions or even worse, to impose his own views. I know up until now this all sounds kind of simple, and yet here we are. We all know these workplaces that I'm describing and we all probably live inside of them. We all know these managers that are arrogant, that don't really care about our opinions and just care about working with us as if we're robots. And then on the other hand, there's the employees that just decide to accept their own situation. But then they go outside together, maybe to a bar or anything like this, and complain about the job, complain about the processes and all those sorts of things, complain about everything basically. So why not channel all of that energy into the right direction and in the right way? We need to be able to give back to the environment for it to grow, to create respect between the teams and the higher-ups and build relationships that are built on values, not so much on positions. Now, you need to listen to this next part because it's crucial and that's the only way that it's going to work. For you to be able to express your opinion and to even have a chance, even if it's a small one, to go in this direction, Your word needs to carry weight to it. Which means what? You need to be a specialist that's going to go through anything to bring benefits to the company. You need to bring something to the table. So dedicate a bigger part of your time to becoming better, much better at your job. Otherwise, nothing will become better. Nothing in your company will become better. Nothing in your life will become better. You will not feel better. Actually, if you've been paying attention, it's probably gonna get worse. And when it gets worse, people like to make excuses. An example of this is that I've heard many times the following saying: regardless of how good you are and how great you are and how right you are, the company does not care about your opinion. Look, it's a rare sight to see a company throw away somebody that's outperforming everybody else and aims to grow the business just because they disagree. Me and my friends are a good example of this. You just need to have some persistence. You cannot control how the company reacts and what they want to do. No, this is out of your control. You should focus on what you can control inside of yourself. And this comes from Stoicism, by the way. So if you feel that you're a professional but the company does not respect your opinion, then you should consider one of two things. Either you're not as good as you think, or you don't know how to fight for your opinion. Many times it's both. Somehow. And actually, I shouldn't have said the word fight, because in a lot of cases, people miss the whole idea of communications. I work in sales, and in many instances, I see people communicating better with their clients than with their management or even their friends. I mean, look at how crazy this sounds. You're super polite and diplomatic to the person that you called on the phone, a complete stranger that you're probably never going to meet, never going to see, maybe never going to speak to again. And yet, to your friends, colleagues, and loved ones, you'd be arguing over the dumbest things possible. Everybody you talk with should be important enough for you to muster the strength to speak with them kind-heartedly. Otherwise, there's no need for you to speak with them. This is how you express your opinion correctly. This is how you show a better way to do something. People would never listen to you, let alone understand you, if they don't like the way you talk. I know that from a personal experience, and we are going to talk about them in other videos so that I can give you practical advice on how to do it and how not to do it. I've had many cases where I've been able to succeed because I knew exactly what to do, how to do it, what to say, so that the management can agree with me. And then there have been other stories where I would be just so frustrated, I would be lacking motivation, and I would just basically go berserk on my director or my president, and the results would be a pure zero. So let's move forward and end this one. Overall, for a person to really be able to affect their environment, to create value for themselves and the people around them, they just need to become professionals in their field and understand how to speak up and negotiate. The way to improve yourself in that direction is, however, in the next video. If you like the content and you want to see more, subscribe, thumbs up, and feel free to comment below your best or worst communication with your manager and how that ended. I might include it in the next one. Thanks for watching, everybody. Stick to the channel, stick to yourself, and stick together. Cheers. Man, that's like so cringe, but I'm never gonna stop doing it.